So we know that R under addition as well as multiplication is a field, and the order less than makes it into a ordered field. So the order less than is behaving well with its addition as well as multiplication. That is what is meant by an ordered field. In fact, R under addition, multiplication, and less than is not the only field. Even as a subset Q, if you are looking at Q, I mean set of rationals, is also becoming an ordered field. It is sitting inside R. We have to understand what exactly or fundamentally what is the difference between Q and R as ordered fields. That we are trying to analyze it slowly. But at the same time, the notion of positivity, negativity as well as zero, basically the trichotomy conditions are coming as a byproduct of less than, and that allows us to look at more fundamental inequalities, and which actually determine it, allow us to determine particular subsets also. So as an example, we will try some of them first, and let us see how the things are marching towards. See, for example, one can do consider a set A. If my set consisting of those real numbers x in R with 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 6. If you are describing the set A, by definition is like this. Can we determine it more precisely in an understandable manner? It is easy to look at and manipulate these inequalities with the fundamental properties we have already done. See, x is in A. It just means that the x satisfies 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 6. But this is if and only if you are just adding minus 3 on both sides. Our compatibility with addition gives the following: 2x is less than or equal to 3. The next step, 2 is going to be a positive real number. So half is available. With attack with the left, it will become an equivalent thing. Because of the compatibility of multiplication with the inequalities, it governs us to say that this satisfies x is less than or equal to 3 by 2. So ultimately, this redefines an easy to understand A as those real numbers x in R for which x is less than or equal to 3 by 2. If you are trying to look at the geometrical nature of this fellow, it is much more nicer, because we have already tried to look at real numbers as the points on straight line and marking with the unit, and we have almost seen this. So our A basically consists of those real numbers which are up to 3 by 2, including that 3 by 3 by 2 means 1.5. So 1.5, it will be coming as 3 by 2. So this point is going to be 3 by 2. Then this actually gives an open array, we can say, closed array, we can say. It starts from the minus infinity part and up to the 1.5, the 3 by 2 part. That is precisely the set. So it is easy to determine if once you are understanding these compatibility conditions. Let us look at one more example of this variety. Let me write down B. It is defined by those real numbers x in R for which x squared plus x is greater than 2. So here you should be a little bit careful because it's a quadratic. X squared plus x is greater than 2. So those points x in B, if you want to understand it more nicely, x is in B, that is implies and implied by this condition holds, that is x squared plus x is greater than 2. But which I can rewrite it in the following manner. I just wanted to throw these difficulties with 2, so I can just take it to the left side. Basically, I am adding minus 2 on both sides, which will say something about the comparison with 0 and easy to handle. So x square plus x minus 2, this is going to be greater than 0. What is the advantage in this way of writing is I can just split it. I can factorize it. So what it will come as x minus 1 into x plus 2. That is going to be greater than 0. That is what is the condition holds. But now it's still better way of looking at. You have an A, you have a B, and two real numbers. the product is going to be positive. So we have very well defined way of analyzing it. AB is greater than 0, either A greater than 0 and B greater than 0, or A less than 0 as well as B is also less than 0. In both cases, that is the only case, and that is both cases will do the answer. So one can rewrite this as either we have two conditions. One, x minus 1, that is my A, greater than 0. At the same time, x plus 2 also I have to make it greater than 0. Or what should happen? 2m, right? That is x minus 1 is less than 0, and at the same time x plus 2 is also less than 0. But these conditions, how will you rewrite it again in an understandable manner? So these conditions, see the first condition, x minus 1 greater than 0 and x plus 2 greater than 0. So rewrite it as x minus 1 greater than 0. Can I write it x greater than 1? So that should be more profitable in this way. So this is an AND condition. AND condition suitably gives that it is actually giving an intersection of two sets. Basically, those sets which satisfies the first condition and actually intersection with x plus 2 greater than 0. That is what precisely going to happen. So analyzing that, this is implies and implied by the following conditions. The first one is x minus x is greater than 1, and at the same time x is greater than minus 2. Or I can just write the second condition, x is less than 1 and x is less than minus 2. So either the first one or the second one. So what about the first one? Actually it means first one is x greater than 1 and x greater than minus 2. We can just look at the picture, what is going to happen. You can write it in well. See, this is enough for us. So what is happening here geometrically? We have x is greater than 1. So it includes everything on the right of this fellow, that is the open side like this. And simultaneously what will happen? X is greater than minus 2. So minus 2 is here and everything here. So it is the intersection of this fellow as well as this fellow. Intersection is obviously going to be x greater than 1. So the first condition actually, so this is if and only if the first condition relates us, this one. Just we can write x, those x in R for which x is greater than 1. That only precisely it says, because this will be simultaneously it's subset actually. So this is the first condition, or we will get the second one. Second one also can be subsumed because x is less than 1. So once again, if you are analyzing this, x is less than 1 means all these parts. Simultaneously x is less than minus 2 also. Minus 2 is somewhere here. So everything here, again the intersection comes with those x's in R with x less than minus 2. So this condition again retains like this, x is in R such that x is less than minus 2. So this is precisely with an OR condition, right? The union of these fellows. So this is precisely the set consists of. So one can just understand it. From the real line also. So union of these two fellows. So if you are rewriting, just trying to visualize it. This is 1, 2, 3 on the right side and minus 1, minus 2 on the left side. So the first part actually x is greater than 1. So all the right way. Second part coming from x less than minus 2. So you have to look at this part. So these two components together will give the required set B. So one can profitably use our algebraic compatibility with the order structure. Now, one more example, we will just write it down and one can train with that. set of all C consists of those real numbers in R for which the condition what I am going to write is 2x plus 1 by x plus 2 less than 1. This set also one can determine in a nice way without giving the solution fully. Just think about this is 2x plus 1 by x plus 2 is make it as less than 1. Once again you can brought 1 to this side, or you can manipulate it as a product and appropriate things. We can do it. So let us make it as a homework. Okay. Now with these notions, this is compatibility and all such things, let us look at more nice fact about these things, how the behavior of such fellows and all. See, one more fact I wanted to stress it here. Whenever you are having non-negative real numbers, that is A is greater than 0 as well as B is also greater than 0, two real numbers, non-negative real numbers are supplied for us, then one can think about positive square root of A and positive square root of B. So how the comparison happens in this situation. A is less than B. That is going to be equivalent with squaring also. A square is going to be less than or equal to B square. That is also equivalent with square root of A, positive square root I mean, is less than square root of B. This is going to be one of the fundamental chain of inequalities we are dealing with. So let us look at how quickly how the proof goes along in this line. So for non-negative A and B, A is less than B as well as that condition is holding for once it holds, then second one also equal to a third. See, let us assume that both are given to be positive, non-negative. So A is greater than 0 as well as B is greater than 0. See, actually this condition A greater than or equal to 0 means either A is strictly greater than 0 or equal to 0. Similarly for B. So we will just assume that at first A is greater than 0 as well as B is also greater than 0. Since A less than B, if you want to look at in both cases, if the first condition, you can just look at what happens for A equals 0 also later. So I am assuming A greater than 0 as well as B greater than 0. So the first condition is A less than B. That is going to be equal to the second A square is less than or equal to B square. So for that part we will look at first. So with this assumption, both are positive. A less than B, it implies in our notations B minus A is greater than 0. Right? But once B minus A is greater than 0, we are checking for the equivalency to the A square less than B square. Remember, A square less than B square with the compatibility of conditions, or the B square minus A square is positive. That is what it's turned out to be. Once you are assuming the first condition, B minus A is greater than 0, will it imply the second, which actually equal to A square less than B square? Now, can you come back? These are the questions. But B square minus A square, I can rewrite it as this fellow is very easily, I can write B minus A into B plus A. That is greater than 0. It's the product of two real numbers. Now just compare. Our assumption is both are positive. Now, if B minus A is strictly positive, A and B are positive. So A and B are positive means A plus B is also greater than 0. So this factor is greater than 0 as well as this factor is, you are assuming that product is again going to be positive. So that gives that answer. What about the converse? Converse is also true. A and B are strictly positive real numbers. A plus B is positive. Once you are writing down that this product is positive, this is positive, then this must be positive, which says that left side also will hold. So ideally, this part is clearing. A less than B is equivalent with A square less than B square. With A equals 0, one can compare also. We can give the proof also. Now, how to go for the third part? That's also easy in some sense, because See, we already have the first part. A is less than B is equivalent with A square is less than B square. That you can assume. So once you just notice that what is A? A is positive square root of A square. B is nothing other than the square root of B whole square. Right? Since both are positive, non-negative, definitely positive square root of A and positive square root of B exists. Now look at this fellow. So if I am looking at, if I am realizing these two fellows, just what you have proved before, that is the first and second part, you just think that square root of A, right? First note that the square root of A is positive, square root of B is also positive, so positive square root. With this, I can just apply the first and second condition equivalency here. Instead of A and B, I will just write down these two fellows, which says that square root of A and square root of B are positive. So it gives square root of A is less than square root of B. That is equivalent with this condition. If I am using instead of A as square root of A, square root of A square is less than square root of B square. Right? So this simply says what? A is less than B, which says square root of A less than square root of B if and only if A less than B. Which says all conditions are equivalent. 1 and 2, 1 and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. So this condition will give a powerful tool to analyze many other inequalities. Now this is one of the fundamental one. Now let us look at another famous inequality, which is also playing very nice role with statistics, the arithmetic or geometric mean inequality. So that is another fundamental one. So we'll try to look at. So our inequality says two real numbers, positive real numbers are given, A and B. A is given and B is given. Both are positive real numbers. Then one can find the arithmetic mean. That is what is the A half of A plus B. Is A plus B by 2. Geometric mean is given by square root of positive square root of AB. Just take the product and positive square root. Then they have a nice connection in between. What the connection is, GM, that is geometric mean AB, square root of AB, is going to be less than or equal to arithmetic mean, that is A plus B by 2. This is the fundamental inequality, which is usually called AM, arithmetic geometric mean inequality. Both are assumed A and B are positive, but one more condition, whenever it's a partial order, less than or equal to may come. Either strict inequality or maybe equal. But the second part, if A and B are equal, then you will get equality. And the converse is also true. That if you are getting equality in this inequality, then obviously A and B is equal. That is the second part is given. Let us quickly go through the proof, how it works and all. So fundamentally star, you have to show that star B means square root of AB is less than or equal to A plus B by 2. Okay, let us look at the conditions. A is positive, B is also positive, which again implies square root of A is positive as well as square root of B is also positive. So we will assume that A not equal to B for the time being. Suppose we are assuming A not equal to B. Then obviously square root of A is also differing from square root of B. Otherwise what will happen? If they are equal, you have to come back with A equals B also. But then what we can do? This actually implies square root of A is positive as well as square root of b is also positive, and they are different. Now, square root of a and square root of b are different, which means you take the difference. I don't know that is positive or negative, but square it, it's always positive. They are differing, so it's strictly positive, right? We are assuming a is not equal to b, differing that side also it come back along with that. So you are checking whether a is different from b, what inequality you can expect. In fact, the strict inequality which is going to land up. So, but it is easy. A square root of a minus square root of b whole square is going to be positive. This implies what? Square root of a square, that is a, minus 2 square root of ab, basically square root of a into square root of b, plus ab, that should be positive. On the other hand, manipulate it. This says that a plus b is greater than 2 times of square root of ab. Half is, we just attack with half on both sides, you will get the required one. So this gives us, rewriting in the proper way, what I am going to get is square root of ab is strictly less than a plus b by 2. But that happens whenever a is away from b. So a not equal to b, we are going to get our star with strict inequality. Remember that. So we will get one part now. If a is differing from b, then inequality star holds, but with the strict inequality. That is happening here. So what happens for a equals b in this case? That also you can check. On the other hand, if a equals b, and if you are assuming this b is positive, so both are positive, that side, then what happens for star? Star is c, a and b are equal, both are positive. So this left hand side is, they are equal. So what you are going to get is same as the right hand side, right? If you are just evaluate it, a 2a by a, for assuming this side also positive square root of a, so you will be getting equality. So if a is same as that of b, then also star holds. So that completes one part actually. If a is differing from b, we will get star. Even if a equals b, then also we are going to get star. So star holds from that side. Now we have the reverse part also to look at. To complete the proof, what we need, a and b are given to be positive, and suppose the equality holds, right? A and b are same, equality holds for the star. That part is over. Now if a and b are positive real numbers and the equality holds in the star, which means square root of ab is same as a plus b by 2, then can you conclude that a and b are the same? Then it completes the entire proof. That's also going to be true, because in this situation, just square it, because these are equal. So just square it. What will happen? You will get ab is equal to a plus b whole square by 4. So rearrange it. 4 is, you can multiply with 4, it's a positive quantity. Everything can be done very easily. So what you are going to get is 4ab is going to be like this. So in the next step, the right hand side is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Rearrange it. So you will get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. This is equal to 0, right? Which implies a minus b square is going to be 0. Square of some number is 0 provided the number is also 0, which actually says that a minus b is 0, which is equivalent to a equals b. So star holds with equality means a must be same as b. The other cases we have done it rightly. So ultimately we have proved the inequality with arithmetic and geometric means. That's what it says. It's again very much powerful, but these are with two real numbers. Inductively one can go further. If you have 3, if you have 4, one appropriate geometric and arithmetic inequality can be proved. For the sake of completion, I'm writing that also. If you have a1, a2 up to an all are positive, multiply them, gm you write down, nth root of that thing, that should be again dominated by the arithmetic mean of these n quantities, a1 plus a2 plus an by n. So this also one can do is an exercise. Obviously, there are more inequalities which are having fundamental importance. Another such kind of inequality is known as Bernoulli's inequality. That also we'll quickly discuss. Bernoulli's inequality says that if x is greater than -1, then find out the binomial kind of way 1 plus x to the power n that is always greater than or equal to 1 plus nx. That is true for every natural number small n. This is what Bernoulli's inequality says. So it's a simple application of mathematical induction. Look at the inequality for n equals 1. N equals 1. What happens for the first left and right is clear, 1 plus x, 1 plus x. You'll be getting the equality. So for one case is proved in the induction. Now just assume that instead of this number, I may just write it as star. So star, you assume that it holds for k, some natural number k. Then what you are trying to expect is it is going to be true for k plus 1. That is what you are trying to look at. But it's easy. So we have for inequality is going to be true for k. So which obviously says 1 plus x to the power k is greater than or equal to 1 plus kx instead of n, k was. Already 1 plus x is greater than 0 because x is greater than 1 is applied. Now simply rewrite what exactly is 1 plus x to the power x k plus 1. Factorize it, just making k here and 1 here. Now this again 1 plus x is a positive fellow. Now just manipulate it to write down. So 1 plus is a quadratic you are writing in FEL. 1 plus k plus 1x plus k x squared. So this is positive, x squared is always positive. So this is a positive quantity added with the thing. So right hand side is something like this. Right? So see the first one is this actually same as that of thing. But whenever you are writing here and just remove this fellow, a positive quantity is removed. That is what is the third line. 1 plus k plus 1 x, then a positive term was there. That you are removing, right? Just you remove that non-negative term. So it will be further decreases, right? Basically, that is the whole thing what you have to look at. So what happens is simply you are away, you will be getting 1 plus x to the power k plus 1. You can conclude that greater than or equal to 1 plus k plus 1 times x. Right? So star holds for n equals k plus 1 also, which says by induction the proof works well. Bernoulli's inequality is another useful inequality which you are going to use. Arithmetico-geometrico is another connection. Now with all these things we can just look at more fundamental way of looking the order structure, how it behaves, and try to attack on the notion of geometry on the real line. So the geometry of a real line, if you want to look at the distance concept, one has to introduce. Basically, this notion of distance or distance from precisely from one point to another point, that again one can say about using the absolute value function. So first itself we will try to define what exactly is the meaning of an absolute value function. So that is what the first step we are going to look at. So absolute value function is defined like this. Take any real number x then either trichotomy guarantees that either it should be positive or it should be negative or equal to 0. So let me just define it very formally. Instead of x, let me write a. So a may be any real number. Then the absolute value of a, we will write it as modulus of a, this notation. So using trichotomy, as I said before, either a is positive or a equals 0 or a is less than 0. One of the thing will hold and exactly 1. If a is greater than 0, I will just pick a itself as the evaluation of the function. If a is 0, again a, or I can say 0. Here, I will, if a is my negative part, if I am taking it out, then I will take the additive inverse of that, which says that I will look at a minus of a, additive inverse of a. This is how we define absolute value function or modulus function, right? So with that, we can just see, this actually gives some ideas. I mean, how these things are coming. Modulus of a on the real line, if you are looking at, a is somewhere, as we said, if it is a positive part, means ideally it will be on the right side of 0. In that case, a itself, which means you are actually giving the distance, how far away a is from 0. That is what is given by modulus in this case. A is 0 means modulus also is 0. Modulus of 0 is 0, which means you are with 0 itself. No distance is there. That's what I'm saying. This actually gives you the notion of distance in between points. See, modulus function, at first, in the definition, it gives how far away you are from 0 is given. See this last part, if a is less than 0, somewhere on the left, a will be lying. So, additive inverse of a, if you are looking at, means this is minus a in that case. I mean, a is a negative real number. So, somewhere it lies here. So, once it is lying here, this is particularly the distance going to come. So, whatever you are trying to write down a, that quantity, make it additive inverse of that, then that comes as the modulus value of that. That is why it's giving distance. So if a is positive, take a itself, 0, also 0. So combiningly one can write mod a can be defined a if a is non-negative, and take the additive inverse to make it positive, non-negative always, if x is less than 0, a is less than 0. This can be given a fundamental definition for absolute value function. So the next question is obviously how this absolute value function behaves with our order structure. I mean, sorry, the algebraic structure with addition as well as multiplication and inequalities. All such things you have to look at. But as I mentioned, this modulus function is the root of how you are getting the distance notion. At first, this gives how far away from 0, but easily one can look at to distance between any 2 points. See, for example, a is somewhere, a real number lies and b is there. So distance from a to b, one will be, if you want to look at, that is precisely is going to be a modulus of a minus b. So look at a minus b, then go for the notion of modulus. Just understand what is the modulus of a minus b. So a and b, if I'm writing, either a will be left or to the right, or they may be coincident. According to the definition, I can easily understand that this fundamental idea gives me the distance from a to b. Once distance is available with us, geometry can be taken into picture. Okay, just to look at the fundamental properties and see how the behavior of such things. Definition is obvious. We have just made it clear. And now let us look at the properties of this absolute value function. So most fundamental properties, we will write it as, we will just conclude it as a theorem. There are 4 parts of the things. So what it says first is 2 real numbers are supplied, a and b are supplied. Just take the product, that is ab. So on that ab, the product, you find the modulus. That is going to be same as the product of their moduli. That is what the first condition says. This is what the first one. For any two real numbers, modulus function is behaving well with taking product. Modulus of the product is the product of their moduli. That is what it says. So how to prove that? A and B are any real numbers. So once again, trichotomy will work with both A and B. So many cases will come. Both A and B are positive cases may come, negative cases may come, one differing cases may come, maybe equal to 0 also you can think about. So one by one we have to look at how the proof goes. See, for example, the first case 1 I may write. You can assume A is positive, B is also positive. A is positive, B is positive, I can mark this as star now. I wanted to prove that. Now if A and B are both are positive, look at the left hand side. It is left hand side, then AB you are finding. Both are positive means AB is also positive. So look at the definition. What about mod AB? Is a positive real number. My definition is nothing other than that a number is positive, modulus is again same. So just use that. So mod AB has to be defined as AB itself. But what happens to the AB now? Right hand side you look at. Mod A has to be written as A itself because A is positive. Mod B has to be written as B itself because B is also given to be positive. Take their product. So mod A, mod B, what is asked for the right hand side of star, that is also going to be AB. So both sides actually we are getting AB, both are same. Right hand side is same as the left hand side and you are getting the first equality. The star is whole. So mod AB is always equal to mod A into mod B. What about the second? Second one is modulus of A square. See, this not, I have just proved A greater than, the first one I have just proved A greater than 0 and B greater than 0 only. Okay, before attacking one B, let us make some more comments. It's only give one cases I have done. If you want, what about the second case? See, A is, then only it will be complete. So A is greater than 0 and B is less than 0 for the first part. This part again I am trying to look at. That also I will make the hint and rest one can do it as. So if you are assuming A is greater than 0 and B is less than 0, then just look at both sides of these fellows. Left hand side will be what? A is less than 0, B is less, A is greater than 0. A is greater than 0 and B is less than 0. This should imply AB is negative. But AB is less than 0 should imply the definition of modulus AB should be the additive inverse. So this has to be minus AB. Whatever AB you have written, minus AB has to come. So additive inverse has to come. So left hand side, this side, I mean mod AB is something like that. But try to look at the right hand side. A is greater than 0. So mod A has to stand still, A itself. B is less than 0, which means mod B, if you are evaluating, it is additive inverse of B. But these two multiplied together will give my right hand side, which will be A into minus B. Remember, this will give minus of A. So both are again equal. So that is the second case if you are looking. Remaining cases also you can try. Whenever A is positive, B is positive as well as B negative I have written. Similarly, try with A negative and other cases also. That I am leaving it as an exercise and we will come back to the B part. So what about the B part? Mod A square, I wanted to prove that it is same as A square. That is the second part. This one. That is true for every A. See, we have already shown that take any real number, square it, that should be always non-negative. That we know. But once it is non-negative, A square is a non-negative real number. That is going to be same as that of its modulus A square. Because modulus function is like that. Modulus function is same if either it is greater than A is positive as well as A is equal to 0. Just use that. So A square is always non-negative, which means A square is modulus of A square. But this Modulus of A square is what? Modulus of A into A. Now why don't you use the first part? This comes with mod A into mod A. Simply gives mod A square. That is why the second one. Mod A square is always equal to A square. So this you know, and we will get the result for. Now look at 3, the third one. It is still geometrical. What 3 says? C is a non-negative real number. With that C, if you are trying to look at it, comparison with A, truly speaking, this is the full statement is something like this. If C is non-negative, this I have to prove. This is what I am trying to look at. So mod A is less than or equal to C. This I wanted to show that this is less equivalent with minus C less than or equal to A less than or equal to C. Geometrically, this is evident, right? Why it is evident? Look at what it says actually. See, mod A is mod A means actually the distance from A to 0, how far away from that. See, look at C. C is a non-negative real number. So C is a non-negative real number in the number line. If you are looking at, see, first observe the following. If you are having 0, for example, here. If you want to look at those points which are having a distance at 2 units, then you have to consider the right hand side 2 units as well as the left hand side also I have to look at. So if I am taking my A, for example, it lies from -2 to +2. Precisely this modulus function is giving me how far away from 0. So that mod A, if my A is either from here or here, that mod A is going to be less than or equal to 2. So 2 is a non-negative real number. And if I wanted to look at those A's for which mod A less than or equal to 2, such A's should be in the closed interval A. In fact, starting from -2 to +2. This is geometrically what you are trying to look at. So instead of 2, you just put C. We have to play in between -C and +C. This is what it says geometrically. So let us go through the proof, how it comes. So what are the ingredients it's needed? See, if you are assuming this part, actually modulus of A is less than or equal to C. Modulus of A, how the evaluation comes? Either you have to give A or minus A according as it is A greater than or equal to 0 or less than 0 respectively. So if you are looking at A and minus A, there the evaluation is going to come. In any way, A as well as minus A are both going to be less than or equal to this C. That is what this implies. C is a positive real number, a non-negative real number, which exceeds the evaluation, I mean the function evaluation mod A. But mod A can take either A or minus A or 0 only, the other thing will come. So combining all, what you are going to get, this implies our A, both A is less than C as well as minus A is also less than C. This is the first thing what you are going to get. But what does it imply? So we are going to get A is less than C or equal to C from this part. C, if I'm C, minus A is less than or equal to C. If I'm attacking with minus C, -1 both sides, this turn out. So what I'm going to get is, once again, A is minus C is less, this turns around. -1 if I'm attacking, minus C is less than or equal to minus A, which is A. So this is what it is going to happen. So this as well as this I have to use well, these two. So what I am going to get, combiningly I will write minus C less than or equal to A, which is less than or equal to C. So that side we will get it. So starting from here, I will get this exploding the inequality, the modulus. So basically I am exploding it. Modulus A less than or equal to C, I am trying to explode. I will get, I can just get rid of that modulus signature by writing that A should be at a distance of C units, either to left or from or to the right. That is what it says. Converse is also almost clear, because once you are assuming that A is in between minus C and C, that is, if minus C less than or equal to A less than or equal to C, then that is again A less than or equal to C at one part, minus C less than or equal to A. As before, if you are just scrutinizing what you have done before, we can argue that this together will imply the condition on modulus A, which is going to be less than or equal to C. So both sides are equivalent. But it is very powerful. You can just explore the modulus signature. Modulus of any real number A is less than or equal to a non-negative quantity if and only if your A lies in between minus C as well as plus C. Highly geometrical too. And then the last inequality says that you take any real number that will be always lying in between minus of modulus A and plus modulus A. Geometrically, once again, the things are very clear, as modulus A represents the distance from 0. So whatever may be A, fundamentally A is either on the right or left, whatever it may, any real number. For example, here A is coming out, mod A is that itself. But mod A is that fellow is, mod A is non-negative, its additive inverse you will be getting in here. So A is lying here means appropriately this will be here. A lies in between that. Always, it's a clear identity, inequality. So how to prove that formally, algebraically? It's also easy, because we have already seen the third part. Simply put C equals mod A. Then what about C? C is mod A. Mod A is always greater than or equal to 0. Always a non-negative quantity. Just push it on the C part. So it says what? I am just replacing C by this. Modulus of A less than or equal to my C always. That is my C. Right? That is equivalent with, just replace C by mod A. I have minus C and C on the both ends. C I will replace minus mod A less than or equal to A less than or equal to mod A. Simply that. So some replacement of C, or just substitute that you will get. Taking that you will get. So all these inequalities are geometrical, as well as it gives fundamental behavior of more absolute value function. But product how it behaves with the real number, as I mentioned, R is an ordered field, right? So modulus is defined, and modulus function, the behavior of that modulus function with multiplication is given. One can just look at how this multiplication, this structure, the function, absolute value function behaves with addition too. That's also having very fundamental importance. We look at that, which is fundamentally known as triangle inequality. We'll try to prove that. It's also highly geometrical, because okay, we'll first state the inequality. Inequality says A and B are any two real numbers. Then you just add A and B, you'll be getting A plus B. Take the modulus, then that will be up to mod A plus mod B. So it gives you the behavior of your, or the how absolute value function is going to behave with additive structure. That is what it's trying to say. So we will just look at that, the proof quickly. Mod, so it is up to sum of their own. So the modulus, the sum modulus of a sum is up to, that is less than or equal to, sum of their moduli. That is how the behavior of additive structure. First, we quickly look at the proof, how it comes. And we will just look at why it is termed as triangle inequality. So the last inequality we have just shown was actually includes that how A is behaving to minus mod A and plus mod A. That is just an application will give the answer here. Okay. So we have seen whatever may be my A, right? That always lies in between minus mod A as well as plus, I mean the modulus of A. That is the behavior of A always. Very similar way I can write it down how B behaves. Any real number B, I can always write it as they lie in between minus mod B and plus mod B. But these are enough for me. See, just these are all inequalities, fine inequalities. Addition is doing well with that. So just add appropriate parts and you will get. See, this gives me on addition, combiningly what I will get from this side, I will get minus of mod A plus minus of mod B, that is less than or equal to A plus B appropriately, which is also going to be less than or equal to mod A plus mod B. So left hand side is minus mod A, minus of mod A plus mod B. I can write it down. That is less than or equal to A plus B, which is less than or equal to mod A plus mod B. That is enough for me, because what I can use is the one more previous step. If I am going, I have proved another inequality for any non-negative real number. Modulus A is less than or equal to C if and only I can exploit it and equivalently write minus C less than or equal to A less than or equal to C. So this I can use it well. But what happens here is, see, mod A and mod B are non-negative, so mod A plus mod B is non-negative. I have a C here, then compare it. So I have some quantity here, some real number here, right? And that real number lies in between minus of C and plus C. So take care of C as, take C as mod A plus mod B. So go from this side to this, what it's going to come, then simply say, it says that modulus of this part, this is equivalent with modulus of the middle part, is going to be less than or equal to this C. C is my mod A plus mod B. So I will get the fundamental triangle inequality. Modulus of the sum is less than or equal to sum of their moduli.